So my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 87,400 US dollars. We got our Easter pump, and with that the scenario has occurred that we might still reach the wicks upwards. Nevertheless, one should be extremely cautious now. It is still at least a holiday in Europe. I believe the USA is open as usual. The euro is skyrocketing and gold is pumping again. Extreme caution is advised on a Monday morning. Otherwise, we will of course also look at the traditional markets. We will focus a bit on the altcoins, specifically Ethereum and Solana as always, and we will look at the heat map. So make sure to stay tuned until the end so you don't miss anything. Before we start, feel free to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, join the free Telegram talk and Signal groups. If you're interested in updates, news and signals, feel free to join. You can find the links for free in the video description below. And if you're also looking for an exchange where you can trade everything we discuss here, feel free to sign up with my partner exchange BingX. The link is also in the video description or the comments section. Additionally, you support the channel by doing so. Yes, Bitcoin at 87,400 US dollars. We've now received our Easter pump, thus collecting the liquidity in this area. Plus, yes, the next target would actually be up here at 88,500 US dollars. Up here we have 2 massive wicks. You might remember here on April 2nd, when this extreme spike occurred and then it went back down and we initiated the next downturn. Currently it looks like we might be able to capture this liquidity. Best case, we also talked about this in the live stream, that we might even go back into the range of 94 to 95,000 US dollars. But honestly, I don't expect that. So if one were to set a short now, and I completely agree with Thomas on this, if we should go short here, the stop loss definitely needs to be above this level. That means we would definitely have a risk of 8% here. That's not exactly little, to be honest, or you definitely hedge here. If we look at the heat map, a lot has changed. So we have, I think we already, when did I make the last video? I think I made the last video on Friday. We saw that it was quite well distributed with the liquidities. We also see, okay, it would fit very, very well now to go up here towards 88 or even 88.5, that region. And then we see the next big cluster down here at 84,000 US dollars. So it fits very, very well actually with these wicks that we still have lying above here. The funding rates have also risen a bit, but they are still in the negative range on many exchanges. So there is still room to move upwards. Nevertheless, one should be a bit cautious, yes, in this area. RSI 4-hour time frame is completely overbought. Doing the same on the 1-hour time frame. So here too, completely in the overbought area. It could very well be possible if we zoom in a bit here and then display the vectors. We have 1, 2, 3 vectors here. A pullback to the daily open wouldn't be so bad, maybe even during the course of today, that we go down again to the area of 85 and then attempt the next spike upwards. It would be a bit intense. But since not all markets have really opened today, it's a possibility. So definitely keep an eye on that. Otherwise, we should, of course, first capture the liquidity upwards, then very, very clearly, so that we see the pullback towards 84,000 US dollars, and this whole rally is then recovered for now. So honestly, going long now would be too risky for me if I were in your position. I would rather look to see if we can get a short position up here. At 88.5, as I said, around that area, 88.8. These are now the next areas that I would definitely pay attention to. That means these are the 2 blue lines up here that we should watch, which seem very, very interesting for a short entry here. Otherwise, as I said, today is still a holiday. In general, I would just be a bit cautious here. Let's move over to the altcoins. Ethereum is also doing a bit of shooting, in quotes, a bit, because we are essentially just recovering the moves from last week here. We are back in the golden pocket. Here too, the RSI on the 4-hour chart still has a bit of room. On the 1-hour chart, it's significantly overbought, where the volume is also slightly declining, even though I would still like to see the 1,750 US dollars here. Unfortunately, we have to align ourselves a bit with, well, Bitcoin. The same game here as well. We have vector candles up to the daily open. So from the daily open candle, it shot up dramatically. So please be careful here as well. Don't just jump into positions. That could still backfire significantly. That's why keep your distance from altcoins. And with Ethereum, not much has really moved in the last few hours. Solana Same game, in my opinion. The pump here wasn't as strong, so a bit of a pump here too, but not as explosive. We already talked about this last week, that the chance of us being in the area of 146 to 148, why this box is a bit lower here, I have no idea, but this area is definitely very, very interesting for shorts. Depending on whether Bitcoin also moves towards, well, 87,900 or 88,400, I can very well imagine that we will see this pump upwards with Solana as well, and then initiate the next sell-off here too. So, same game. We need to keep an eye on Bitcoin. Altcoins are currently of significantly less interest in my opinion, and the risk is significantly increased. Gold, yes, just keeps pumping. We simply keep raising the fit level here because honestly, we can't do anything else anyway. I will continue not to short here. But even here, the gold market is just completely escalating. It's really insane how strongly the gold price has just continued to rise over the past few weeks without a proper correction, except for the one where we ultimately had our long entry. But as I said, I wouldn't short here. Even though the signs are slowly appearing that we are seeing decreasing volume, though we still don't have any divergence, or rather we have it here in the 4-hour time frame for the first time. Nevertheless, the risk is still significantly too high for me today, and I would simply leave it. If you still have a short long position open, you might hedge a bit here and say, okay, 50% of the last open long position. You try a short here, but opening one now without having anything open, I would just leave it if I were you. Yes, the traditional markets, let's see what's happening there today. But since gold and also the euro, which we will talk about shortly, are really pumping, I can imagine that we might see a pump here during the day, no matter where, and that we might still reach the 0.5 or the golden pocket. The DAX is still closed today, so there's no point in getting excited about it. Nasdaq and Dow Jones, as mentioned, the same scenario. That we will probably see a pump here as well, but these are still the two alternatives that are being pushed over for this week, which still need to be triggered. But otherwise, as I said, let's wait and see for now. As mentioned, holidays and such, especially here, I would just be a bit more cautious. Yep. And Mondays often have false moves, which I can very well imagine happening with Bitcoin today. Last but not least, as mentioned, the euro against the US dollar, our short position is already closed. I already have a new one planned, especially because we now have a massive divergence here. So it would fit very, very well with a stop loss above this pivot point risk. If we go up to 117 at 1.4%, in my opinion, this is definitely manageable here. Otherwise, yes, that's it for today's update video, short and concise. An altcoin video is definitely still coming. And otherwise, I would say I wish you all a nice holiday for those who still have the day off. But I believe everyone should have the day off, as far as I know. But otherwise, have a nice holiday. Enjoy the time with your family. And starting tomorrow, everything will be back in full swing with all that it entails. Until then, leave a like, subscribe, join the Telegram group, and we'll hear from each other later. Until then, bye-bye, and always end thoughtfully.